Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and in the titanic struggle to win the mayorship of New York City, Curtis Sliwa comes onto CNBC and absolutely takes it to them. Let's dive in.
If you actually believe that Zohran Mamdani is the threat that you've described, I mean, perhaps you don't think that, and maybe you think that Cuomo is just a bigger threat, but if in fact this is this sort of, inflection point in the city, I just can't understand. Do you think that there's any chance mathematically that you win?
Absolutely. And let me tell you something. The billionaires have been wrong about this election from day one. They give me vertigo. First they were with Cuomo. Then they ran over to Eric Adams. Oh, how did that work out? He's one and done. He belongs in jail. He's the reason that there is a Zohran Mamdani, because if he had done a halfway decent job, he would have been the incumbent Democratic mayor. It would have been round two because I ran against him the last time in 2021. And I warned everybody he would be corrupt and there would be chaos. And it would be Sliwa versus Adams. Adams failed. Cuomo failed. That's how you have a Zohran Mamdani. So please, I'm here in New York City. I was born in New York City. They tried to kill me in New York City. I will die in New York City. I will be buried in New York City. I know what's in the best interest of New York City. I'm not dropping out because some billionaires have vertigo. And by the way, they may know Wall Street. They may know hedge funds. They don't know anything about the streets of New York City. And by the way, they've been wrong about politics every time.
Curtis, do you think the polls are wrong?
Excuse me?
Do you think the polls are
wrong?
wrong?
Did the polls say that Andrew Cuomo would win by 40 points over Zohran Mamdani? And what about when Donald Trump was attempting to rerun for office? All the New York Post headlines, oh, drop out, Donald, make way for Ron DeSantis. How did that work out?
Curtis, let me ask you one other question. You mentioned the billionaires, and we had one of them actually on our air earlier in the week, Bill Ackman, and I don't know if you saw, he took to Twitter yesterday or to X, and he made an allegation. And I just wanted you to speak to it about why he believes you're not dropping out. He says that the city has an 8-to-1 matching program for New York City donors, and Sliwa got $5 million of matching funds from the city through his campaign. He says, according to my source, you saw he put this out publicly yesterday, Sliwa's wife, friends, and others are on the campaign payroll, and he and they are enjoying living off the city's taxpayers who are funding his race lifestyle. He doesn't want to end his campaign and have to return the funds. And then he says, if I'm wrong, please tell me. So, Curtis, as he says, please correct the record if I got anything wrong. So I wanted to ask you the question directly.
Bill Ackman has been wrong every step of the way about this race. And naturally, he wants me out of the race. So he makes these charges against me. Yes, there are matching funds. And I've raised more money than Andrew Cuomo in matching funds from New York City donors. So, Bill Ackman, keep wasting your millions. Give it to Andrew Cuomo. You gave it to Eric Adams. You haven't been right about anything here. This is a guy who's had a midlife crisis who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a tennis pro and he gets booed off the court. Well, guess what, Ackman? You're getting booed out of the political court. Stay in your lane, focus on Wall Street, your hedge funds, and let the people decide who the next mayor is. That's what our democracy is.
But
I
Curtis,
never was taught in school that all of a sudden the billionaires get to choose the next mayor. It's not happening.
That's a fair point, Curtis. But I just want to speak to the allegation, or at least the contention itself. Is your wife or other family members on the payroll of the campaign?
My sister does public relations, which has been her career. Is there something wrong with that?
But that's the extent of it.
That's it. So Bill Ackman can again make these charges, and Bill Ackman can again be wrong about who's going to be mayor of the city of New York. And Bill Ackman, if he wants to flee New York City because he lives in Chappaqua, I might add one of the wealthiest suburbs in America. Right. I live here in the city. I ride the subways every day. I work. I represent Curtis, the working class people. And by the way, all of these billionaires, they fled to the Hamptons. That's where Andrew Cuomo was instead of campaigning. He's been off the campaign trail for 10 days. So maybe Bill Ackman should give some advice to Cuomo like, hey, drink a few Red Bulls, get back in the campaign, Try to get your voters out and let the people decide. That's what democracy is about. Not billionaires picking the next mayor, not insiders. Democracy is about the people. And that's the way I was brought up in a blue-collar, working-class household. I'm a proud Republican, and I'm going to go out there and get Republican, conservative, independent votes, moderate Democrats, and a brand-new party that was created by my wife, Protect Animals, no-kill shelters, animal abusers go to jail, and let the people decide by November 4th, not the billionaires who've been wrong every step of the way and helped create this pathway for Zoran Mandami that nobody knew a year ago.
Now, this is a kind of Yankee I like. Where do you make people like this? Because people like this don't exist in the South, all right? This is a special kind that needs to be protected and later studied, because Sliwa is on a rampage, and he's right. He's right. He keeps on predicting what's going to happen, and no one wants to believe him. He keeps on reminding people that, hey, it shouldn't be the billionaires controlling everything. When you have a Republican saying that, you know you've got a different breed going on. And yet, the people who've been backing the wrong candidates in New York City just over and over and over, it just keeps on getting weirder and weirder. The whole idea of backing Cuomo, a man who has been disgraced for a multitude of reasons, let alone, his handling of lockdowns. That's the least of his worries. So, of course, New York City voters didn't want him in a primary. There's something else going on in this video that really isn't there. It's the whole idea of Mandami. And Sliwa is doing the right thing and not even talking about Mandami, okay? He's talking about his own campaign and what he's trying to do and reminding everyone, hey, I've been getting this stuff right for years. Why are you just now listening? And so this is what this whole kerfluffle is about between him and Bill Ackman. It was not Zoran Mandami's debate performance. It was Curtis Sliwa's statement after the debate that he was not leaving that tipped the odds to 90% for Mandami, Ackman wrote on X. Remember, that Bill Ackman decided that it was going to be a great idea to go out there and back damaged goods like Cuomo. Seriously, the whole thought process behind this is absolutely bizarre until you realize that American politics is about these weird coalitions. It's not the European style where you have to have different people in different parliamentary settings coming together and joining a coalition government. No, America has something different. We'll have, for instance, in New York City, it's between the moderate Dems and the crazy young leftists and the conservative Republicans, who really aren't that conservative, but they are Republicans. And so that's exactly what's going on. That's what these three different candidates represent. You have Sliwa representing the Republicans who are saying, hey, y'all are going crazy again. We just cleaned up this city 20 years ago, and you've let it slide back in to the decrepit mess that it used to be in back in the, what was it, 70s and 80s, and then Rudy Giuliani came along and said, you know what, we're going to have to get tough on crime again. We're going to have to do the right things again. And this keeps happening because Democrats don't like to admit. They really don't like to admit that tough on crime policies work. They don't want to admit that they need to be more open to more construction, more new building. And that's how you're going to actually get a clamp down on rent. And yet, for some insipid reason, they don't want to admit that. And here's why. Because if they admit that there needs to be change, the average voter is going to look at that and go, then I can't trust you to enact the change. I can't trust the very same people who have let things slide off, almost off a cliff. I can't leave them in charge again, so they're going to change hands. So Democrats are caught between a rock and a hard place, and they've been slowly fomenting this idea on the left. And that's how you get Mandami. That's one way that you ultimately get these crazed borderline socialists. And he's trying to walk back his comments, but I need to keep this more focused on Sliwa. See, the whole reason I'm building this argument the way I am is because New York City politics is exactly what's been going on with Democrat politics. And Sliwa is out there saying, no, you guys are crazy, you've lost the plot, and you're going to make things even worse if you keep going leftward. The guys in charge have been sort of the moderate Democrats, and I mean that in a literal compared, more like, you have the left-leaning ones and then the not as left-leaning ones. That's what I mean by moderate. And the moderates don't want to admit that they're slipping, that they have screwed something up or they've allowed something to fester. And so they know they're losing power and they're grasping at straws any way they can. That's why they got Cuomo back in the race. If anyone is supposed to drop out, it should be him. As a matter of fact, he shouldn't have been in there to begin with. He partially did it out of ego, and then he also did it to try and capture the moderate Dems, and even the moderates in the primary said no. American voters are starting to have longer and longer memories. We remember what that dude did. Okay, we remember what Cuomo did. But there's something growing on the young left. They like the ideas of socialism. They like the ideas of rent control. They like the idea. They even apparently like the idea of closing Rikers Island, just closing the thing. If you don't know, there's 7,000 prisoners at Rikers. They want to close that because they think that that system is unjust and immoral. When they don't understand why those people end up there to begin with. Sliwa is trying to remind everyone why we have guardrails on dangerous stretches of road. It's to protect you from going careening off the edge of a cliff. It's why you have carabiners. It's why you tie your knots on your ropes. It's there for your abilities and protection. It's not there to just take you away from your freedoms and cage you. No, the older I get, the more I realize these rules are in place for a reason. We as humans are an odd bunch. And sometimes we have to learn lessons the hard way. And out here, Curtis Sliwa is trying to remind everyone what these lessons are. And the billionaire donors don't want to listen to him. And the people of New York City, at least on the Democrat side, refuse to listen to him. And now you're getting these vapid leftists that truly will embrace chaos instead of embracing the ideas of order, law, and justice. So this is going to be a huge bellwether. I'm interested to see how it turns out, but hopefully Polymarket is wrong on this one. I hope Bill Ackman is wrong. And Curtis Sliwa does a fantastic job of defending himself from any accusations. This was just a good job all around. Good for him. I hope he wins. Because New York City is the most important city in the world. And I'm a Southern boy having to admit that. I don't like admitting that. But it is. And it's too important to be given into the hands of socialists and leftist nut jobs. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politbro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.